men are used to being in these leadership roles. They're used to doing it scared. Like all these women come to us and they really undersell themselves. They're like, oh, well, I'm not that experienced, or this is the how difficult I climb. This is the grade that I climb. It's not that good, blah, blah, blah. And they're always underselling themselves. And it's often the opposite with men. And I'm like, let's take a page out of the guy's book. Let's oversell ourselves. Let's do it scared.
Hey, everybody. We've had some of the most incredible guests coming to you these past couple of months. The amount of expertise and knowledge on these cutting edge topics is something we really hope that you enjoy. And if you do, it would make a huge difference to us if you could rate, review, and subscribe the podcast. It helps us to get more guests, better experts, and talk about all of the things that are really important to you. So give us a love, give us a lot of love, and don't forget to subscribe so you get all our new episodes.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Thick Thighs Save Lives podcast. I'm Kelsey, and I am very excited to welcome our guest on today, Kelly Fields. Kelly, welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
I'm really excited for all of our listeners to hear your story, hear about climbing, hear about some of the amazing feats that you have accomplished, and to just kind of get a glimpse into your mindset preparing for some of these things. So I just want to start with a little introduction. How did you get into climbing?
Well, first I want to say I'm just really excited to be here because I love your mission, and I've found you all through your awesome leggings, honestly. But
You did?
I gravitated toward the podcast just because it's all about women and it's all about real people in their fitness journey, and so that's really what resonated with me. So I'm excited to be here. And
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm also so glad to hear that you've already found some leggings, because at the end I was gonna be like, we're gonna send you some leggings, still are, but like, so glad to
oh, I
hear
love
that you love them already, and that they're that they would be something like, that you wear and love.
Oh yeah, I wear them to work every day. I have an all-female guide team in my business, and we all rock leggings. And the more fun, the better, honestly. So
Yeah, oh, we hit fun hard.
thank you. I appreciate it. But I digress. I got into climbing through my family. My parents were outdoor enthusiasts, and they just brought all of us outside all the time. So we did lots of things outdoors. We did camping trips, canoeing, backpacking, and rock climbing was a really, really big part of that. And so I started climbing outdoors with my family when I was 2, and I just have done it ever since.
That's incredible. When you were 2, so you were born to climb.
I was born into it. I know I'm always like, it's hard to tell where climbing began and I started type thing. And it's shaped my worldview so much, and it's really hard for me to tell like how much of that comes from climbing and is unique to climbing and how much of that is sort of shared in all these other different industries and fields and things like that. But specifically, I do what's called traditional multi-pitch climbing, or trad climbing for short, and it's thought of as more of an adventure style of climbing where you go out into the mountains and you place your own pieces of protection that are then removable. So you can really pick any route that you want to and climb any mountain that you want to, as opposed to climbing things that have permanent pre-placed bolts in the rock for people. So it's really an adventure style of rock climbing.
That seems like a wild, like, just to like just kind of like stepping back from that, like, just as a non-climber, just being like, the freedom of being able to choose any of your own routes is like, must be liberating as well as terrifying, because like, you're at the hand, like, you're in the driver's seat, which is of course what we want for our whole lives, but like, there's so much ownership in that that also feels a little terrifying for me.
It's definitely just like the ultimate stepping into the unknown when you do this style of climbing. Especially what I like to do is putting up routes or establishing first ascents, so being the first person to pick this line. So you go up a mountain and you really don't know what's up there. You don't know if it will work, if you'll make it to the summit, if it's going to be safe, that sort of thing. And with it comes a lot of failure, honestly. So you go up and you have to make real time decisions and come back down to the ground so that you can live to do it all over again. But it's really rewarding. And I think I'm really fortunate to have this, especially in today's modern world that feels so charted. It feels like there's a blueprint to everything. And having this love of the outdoors and climbing specifically just allows me to find my own way and to really go to places that have never been touched, which I think is very unique today.
Oh my God, so unique. It feels like everything honestly has been touched sometimes. And we all get like a kind of like a breath of that when we get into the outdoors because it's like, oh, we're out of the like hustle and bustle. Like we're in this like open area, but to truly go paths that others have never taken, um, definitely has an effect on your mindset. And I know you kind of like alluded to that a little bit about your worldview and how climbing has kind of like influenced or shaped that. Could you talk more about that?
Yeah, I I used to just climb because I mean, I've kind of struggled with was climbing something I wanted to do, or was it just something I thought I was supposed to do, because I was definitely sort of born into it. And I kind of struggled with, is climbing a selfish pursuit? Is there any sort of bigger picture to this? Is there a reason to be doing this, or is this just a fun activity? And as I've gone through life and gotten older, I have really seen the significance that climbing can bring to the public and just to the bigger picture of life. I mean, it really has helped me navigate some of the hardest times in my life. And I think that the biggest thing that it does for me is it gives me this very unique relationship with fear. It puts me in a space where I have to make decisions and live amongst fear and be in really uncomfortable situations. And that is so much of life, is being uncomfortable. And the more comfortable you are being uncomfortable, then the easier those moments get in life. And it became really apparent to me when my mother passed away 2 years ago now, that everything that I was dealing with, just taking care of her and navigating all of that, it was really similar to being in the mountains, like going to the hospital and making these decisions for her care. It was all unknown with really high consequences. And that's what rock climbing is. So I was just like, oh, I've been here before. I've had to deal with this uncomfortable, scary moment where the consequences are really high.
Well, first of all, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Um, and I just like a lot of what you said there, and I have interviewed a lot of people and women who I feel like have accomplished these kind of like amazing, feats similar to yourself. And no matter what facet, and this is why I was interested in bringing you on the podcast, no matter what facet they've chosen. I had a woman who had gone on racing, and she's about to row the Atlantic, and it doesn't matter necessarily like what I'm finding is that all of these different people have chosen this thing that challenges them on a daily basis, that invokes some fear in them of like an unknown, of a challenge, and practicing that they have constantly equated to using in your everyday life if we can make those connections. And I think sometimes when we don't have those things, when we don't have that, um, challenge in front of us, whatever, if it's a hobby, if it's climbing, if it's, CrossFit, if it's whatever it is, if we don't have that we're practicing on a daily basis, we feel ill prepared for some of the things that life throws at us. Death, hardship, divorce, breakups, all of the human experience, essentially. Um, and I just find that if we have these things, we're so much more well equipped to be able to handle life.
Exactly, yeah. And it really, like you said, it really doesn't matter what that thing is. Like I try to tell people, like it doesn't have to be this big, grand, exceptional, outrageous seeming thing to do as long as you're pushing yourself. So even, like taking a dance class or learning a language or I don't know, it can be something really small or just, I mean, making a new friend, right? Like how scary is that as an adult? Just
Yeah.
like doing something where you're putting yourself in an uncomfortable position and just seeing the growth that comes from that, I think is really good for people. And it's also sort of in pursuit of your passion. Like find what fuels you, find what lights
Mm.
your fire, and and then be sort of courageous enough to lean into that and follow that. But that's what these things give us so much. And I feel really grateful to have rock climbing specifically as a woman because the men and women can compete very equally in rock climbing. And women are, this
Mm.
is a woman's sport. Like we are awesome at rock climbing because it's this fine balance of strength and technique. It's not one or
Yeah.
the other. And some of the highest performing athletes in climbing are women. They have changed the standards of the sport in phenomenal, exceptional ways. So I love it for women of any age and especially for young girls because it's just like, this is a place where you can outperform the boys and it teaches women and young girls to be confident and how to find their voice.
Mhm. Oh God, I love that so much. That's like my life mission right
Yeah.
there. I'm like, in any way that we can find this, where we can just like instill this confidence in young girls into womanhood, where we can like use any of these facets to do that so that they can just go about life with that confidence that like you deserve to take up space here. They're just, men are not better than you, like you, like
Yeah.
you are an equal here, you are setting new standards. You walk into a room, people need to listen. Like there's just so much to be learned there for young girls that it's like imperative for us to change the future for everyone. Like for just everyone, because it impacts every part of your life. Confidence literally impacts every aspect of your life.
Yeah, that's a big question that my clients bring to me is like how do you cultivate confidence? And it's sort of a harder question for me to answer, but I think it does come from competence. And
Yeah.
I think it is a learned trait that you have to go out and you have to practice it. And it is sort of this, it can be this fake it till you make it type thing. If you are lacking
I
in that,
totally back that.
like,
I
well,
endorse this
try
message.
and like act like somebody that's confident then. And then if you do that enough, then before you know it, you are going to be an embodiment of what confidence is out there.
Yeah, I love that. Confidence is such a thing because it's like, where do we find it? Like a lot of
Yeah.
the questions, and this is definitely from my community, that we look towards women who are exuding confidence, and we tried to say, like, how did you get that? Where did you find it? And it's not found. It is built. It has always been built, and it's not found at like the end of a like diet, body size. It's none of these things. It's really built. And we have the saying in my house that confidence builds confidence,
Mm,
because when you have little ones, your knee jerk reaction kind of is to like save them from falling, or like do the thing for them, like tie the shoes because we got to go. Or like help them up. A lot of things when like, or for us, like across the monkey bars is a big thing right now, um where like competence builds confidence. So like we're constantly going like, let her do it, let her do it. I'm like, our 3-year-old, we're like, let her do it. It's going to take 5 times as long, but she's
Yeah.
going to, at the end of that, like have worked towards building that confidence. And like, we just have to be patient and wait, because doing it for them is not allowing them to build that for themselves. And it's the same thing with adults. Like, we want to go towards, like, people like yourself, and like ask them like, but where do you get the confidence? Like, could you just do it for me? And the answer really is no. We can talk about it in this way, and we can kind of like give some blueprints of how you can build it on your own, but essentially, like, it has to be you doing the scary hard thing, whatever invokes fear in you, and then realizing that on the other side of fear is the most amazing things.
Fully. I mean, that is the mission behind my small business. So I own a rock climbing guide service, and we teach people climbing, we take people climbing. It's nationwide, it's year round, and my guide staff is predominantly all women, which is very unique for this industry. And I started it by just running women's climbing events because I wanted to create this space where women could do what you just said, where it's like, no, you have to get in the driver's seat. You are going to have to be the one that ties into the rope and goes up there first. And a lot of women don't have the opportunity to do that when they're climbing with men, because men are used to being in these leadership roles. They're used to doing it scared, sort of, is what I've
Mm.
learned. So, like, all these women come to us and they really undersell themselves. They're like, oh, well, I'm not that experienced, or this is the how difficult I climb. This is the grade that I climb. It's not that good, blah, blah, blah. And they're always underselling themselves. And it's often the opposite with men. And I'm like, let's take a page out of the guy's book and let's oversell ourselves. Let's do it scared. And it's just about that's what I do for women every day is I sit there and I hold the other end of their rope for however long it takes for them to get to the top. I'm like, we can be here for 5 hours. I don't care, but you are going to do it.
Yes, I love that. And I wanted to dive into your kind of like all women, or primarily all women team, because you did this 42-day expedition in the Canadian Arctic. Which, when I read this, I was like, are there any warmer ones? But can you just tell us a little bit about that? What did that look like? Just the overall experience.
The expedition I just did was a lifelong dream of mine that did fully come true. I now believe in manifesting. It was 42 days in total, uh, which consisted of 29 consecutive days in the wilderness. So we went to Baffin Island, which is a very remote location in Canada, and we wanted this multi sport aspect to it. So it was myself and three other we'll say women. One of the people was non-binary, but we did sort of promote ourselves as an all-female team. And we went in and we spent a week skiing in over sea ice, so it's frozen ocean, and we were skiing 20 to 30 kilometers a day for 7 days. So we skied in 186 kilometers total to a
Whoa.
base camp at the base of this large untouched mountain, rested for a few days, did a new route, and we put up an 1,800-foot rock climb that had never been climbed before. And then we made kind of a big loop of it, a big circle. So we rested after the climb, and then we had to hike over a pass, shuttle all of our gear that took multiple days just to get our gear over this mountain pass, and then rafted out on a river, and then sort of backpack the last leg of the trip to end up where we started. So it was 300 kilometers total of terrain once we had finished that, and 29 days in very, very remote, untouched wilderness.
That is incredible. So you said this was like, I'm just picturing this whole thing. Hopefully our listeners are too. Like, I just started a movie of you doing this in my mind. But how, you said that was a lifelong dream. How did you come up with that?
I honestly, I read lots of books and magazines of people going to just really remote places, and then I would do research on like how can I find the biggest mountains in the most remote places. So pulling out a map is one way. Like you can literally just look up on Google Earth and try and find these untouched places. But Baffin Island is sort of known in the world of rock climbing of being this otherworldly, hard to get to place. And I also really love big wall climbing, which is a style of climbing where you have to sleep on the rock because the climbs are so big.
Like on the edge with the like.
We call it a portalet, but it's like a stiff cot that you hang from the rock. So the biggest one we have here in North
I'm
America.
not gonna lie to you. Every time I've seen those and I'm like, people are sleeping in there, I'm like, are you okay?
You're not okay.
Like I genuinely am like, whoever is sleeping, jangling on the side of a mountain, like I need to check in with them.
You do need to check in with us. We're not okay. We need to be reeled back into reality, but we're having fun.
You're alive, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I love it. It's just like it's
Me too.
vertical camping. So you just haul all of your gear up, and there's nothing like the stars and the moon in the night sky on a giant big wall, which actually in the Arctic on this expedition, it's 24 hours of daylight. So we never saw that. That was this whole wild
Oh,
side of it. It was like a big fever
24
dream,
hours.
honestly. The sun never
Yeah. Do
set.
you actually sleep like on the edge there? Is it like a light sleep? Is it more just like resting?
I do fall asleep because I'm so
Me
tired
too.
at the end of the day. And you stay clipped in throughout the night. So you're like relative, you're safe. You're not gonna. I think when I first started, I would kind of sleep with one eye open, and now that I've done it so much, I fall asleep hard, and I have had those dreams where you feel like you're falling, and I sort of like shake the whole portaledge and wake my partners up, and they're like, "What? What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh,
Oh,
sorry, just having a bad dream."
you're feeling like you're falling on the side of a mountain, jangling. Kelly, you wild.
I love it.
I absolutely love that, but I'm telling you, like, I watch those videos with the backdrop of like, I'm kind of watching them to get that like secondhand fear. Like, I'm not even in it, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, they're just out there.
I love it because you are out there and you're in really uncomfortable and you're just sort of forced to make these real time decisions. So I think it can be good like you're saying, like even if you're not a rock climber, to just sort of watch and absorb the energy of it, which is this
Yeah.
energy of play and freedom and grit and like perseverance. Like go and try really hard and put yourself out there, and anyone can do it. Like climbers are so weird. We're such nerds. We do not, if you meet us, we are we don't seem like exceptional people. So it's just sort of like let your freak flag fly, and like if you believe in it, go and do it.
Hey, you.
Thanks for getting in touch with the Thick Thighs Save Lives podcast.
We love your questions and adore hearing from you.
Leave us a hello,
A burning question,
feedback.
or anything else you want to share with us on the podcast.
We will play your message live on air if we can.
Thanks for being an amazing friend. Stay safe and moving. So, I think that you just said something there right now, too, that was kind of impactful for like just an everyday, because we do value all of the things that you just said, like the grit, the hard, the things that are scary to us, the things that are uncomfortable for us. Like we value the attributes that come out of experiences that are scary and hard. But I think that a lot of people, when they're faced with some of those on a daily basis, we really kind of pull back away from those. Although we aspire to have the attributes that are built from those experiences, right? Like that are built from those life experiences that we come out and we say, like, that took a lot of grit. That was really hard. That was really difficult. That was challenging. Whether it's like a conversation with people or just something brave that you've had to do in your life. So, what would you like when it comes to mindset? What advice would you give to kind of reshape some of the difficult things that people are experiencing in their life into being those opportunities to build these attributes that we really do admire and need?
I think for me, what helps, I'm a very logical person, and so I just go back honestly to the science of it. And I am not a neuroscientist, I'm not an expert, but our brains are wired to seek comfort. Our brains will find the easiest, most comfortable, most familiar feeling way to do things. And so for me, what helps is just remembering that my brain wants the easiest way, because
Yeah.
it doesn't want to work that hard. And there's a greater good that comes from that. Like, that's the brain trying to protect us. And so instead of sort of like shaming yourself and being like, oh, why don't I put myself out there more, or why am I picking the easy route, it's sort of just being like, oh, that's the way humans are wired. And I think just in terms of mental fitness, the first step always is awareness. Like, just take inventory of what your brain is doing. And you don't even have to do anything from that. You don't have to act on it. Just be aware of it. So that could be writing it down in a on your phone, and your notes app on your phone every day. Or if you're a pen and paper person, then just write it down. Like, oh, my brain wants me to go to sleep right now. My brain is telling me that I don't want to go to the gym, or just, and that's it. And if you start from a taking inventory and becoming aware of it, it sort of naturally changes itself after that. Like, you'll know the next step that you need to take after that.
That's such a beautiful way to put it. Thank you for that. That's such a beautiful way to put it because I think a lot of us go towards that shame. I am not like someone who seeks discomfort, or I am like lazy and like things like that. Like we assign our identity to some of these attributes that are kind of like a separate from us. Like, no, my brain is seeking comfort. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's good to be aware of that. Like it's not a reflection of like you individually as a person being like lazy and just seeking comfort, and like it's not a you problem, guys. Like your brain is wired to survive and to seek comfort, and in this modern environment we have to counteract that by seeking discomfort. Like we have to actively seek out these challenges because we have come into like a lifestyle where it is easier to find comfort than historically it has been from an evolutionary standpoint. So like it's not you, it's your brain.
It's
And
and
I
you're
like that
not alone.
separation.
And you're not alone. It's all of us, Like, I think we really again, our brain likes to put everything in categories. It's just easier for us. So we like to put ourselves in different groups, but really we all have more in common than we think we do. we we're all just human. Like you said, this is the human experience. And like, for me, for example, so I my fitness journey has always been kind of an intuitive one, like, let's go outside and play one, and that is what kept me fit. And I didn't go to what I call I didn't go to a conventional gym until about 3 years ago. I had never been to just a weightlifting gym that, like, normal human beings go to. And when I went for the first time, I was horrified. I felt so out of place. I was like, I don't
Mhm.
belong here. I don't know how to use any of the equipment. Like, everybody is going to know I'm a poser. And and people look at me like, wow, you do these wild
You're
things.
climbing mountains literally.
Yeah, and they're like, you're too afraid to go in and like use the assisted pull-up machine. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, what if I do it wrong? So it's like we all feel the same way. in these environments. And the more you do something, the easier it gets, which includes being uncomfortable. So the more you do uncomfortable things, the easier uncomfortable things will become.
I love that you shared that too, because so many people would definitely just look at you and be like, yeah, she's so like totally comfortable in the gym and like that wouldn't scare her at all. She literally sleeps on the side of mountains. I can't imagine anything that scares a person like that. Like but the assisted pull-up machine can be scary, and that's just like resonates so much for every person. And it kind of like leads into, some of the endurance sports I wanted to talk about. And just like, can you discuss like the unique endurance needed for some of these like outdoor climbs and just like out some of these like wild um climbs, and apparently not only climbs but skiing and that you do.
Yeah, I think endurance is kind of my secret weapon. I think it is for a lot of women, honestly. I think we're just built different, and the science isn't really there, of course. It's lacking for us as to why, but our bodies are different. But we do excel in endurance sports. And for me, I've noticed that as I've gotten older, I've actually gotten stronger with regards to endurance. So, like in my 20s, when I would go out and do these long climbs, I would just be exhausted after the first day. And now I've built up this muscle memory that I can push myself for, 29 consecutive days in the wilderness at this point. But the sort of physical side of that is, I'd say, just big, long days, which I know can be hard with, a work schedule to go out and get. But if you can just go out and do long runs or long walks or things like that and just have to be out all day, or like you were saying before we started this recording, you went to Mount Rainier with your family, like even just like going and being outside all day is going to train you physically for endurance sports. And I'm thinking like the big side of that too is sort of protecting my body. So
Yeah.
I never went to a conventional gym for weightlifting and that sort of thing, but I did have light free weights, and my focus was always strength training of these sort of stabilizer muscles. So I think just like joint health and mobility and stretching and that sort of thing goes a long way when you're pushing yourself for a long period of time. And then nutrition is a big part of it. And nutrition, again, I'm not an expert, but my biggest thing is that it's unique to everybody. And so I sort of want to tell people, like, don't read about it. Like,
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
like,
Whatever the
don't
new
get
diet is,
intuitive.
don't read it.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
it's not for you.
It's not
Like,
for you. Exactly. It's like, please take it with a grain of salt, pun intended. Like, just don't, you need to like find what works for you with nutrition and know that it's going to change.
yeah. Well, you have a unique backdrop with that too, that I just want to kind of like separate from everyone's kind of like when it comes to like physical fitness or like looking into physical fitness, like you were exposed to it more like for play, like going outside and being able to stay kind of like physically well through things that were outside and that you were enjoying. And I think that like a lot of us have missed that. So then when it comes to going into the gym, we expect it to be miserable. And the focus there is for women is always on just being smaller and not actually maximizing the capabilities of your body. And I continue to run into this struggle with just trying to find different ways to talk to women about our experiences in the gym and what we're building with our bodies, and it not being an aesthetic
Yeah.
shrinking so that no one will notice us. Like, and looking at those like stabilizers and looking at strength building and like what is it that you want to do in your life that being physically fit will help you do, like will contribute to you doing. So I know that this expedition was a lifelong dream, and you went into the gym, you said about 3 years before. Was that in preparation for this expedition, or were you just like, this is a something that's really important to me, and I would benefit from, you know, some more time like in the gym.
Yeah, I kind of thought that I would benefit from more specific strength training in term because I've always had this endurance side of me, so I can be out all day pushing my body just and running on nothing. I've always had that, and I don't know why, to be honest. Maybe because my parents brought me out since I was a kid, so it's just inside of me. But I didn't really have the power, the strength behind it. So I wanted to build more muscle specifically, and a few years ago, I started dating my boyfriend who is very big into lifting, and I was sort of like, "Oh, how'd you get like that?" And he's like, "I went to a gym like normal people. What are you talking about? You should
How'd
try
you
it."
do that?
Okay, I'll look into that.
I hear that.
And so, yeah, I went in, and I mean, now I just go in and I like YouTube the machines right before I use them, honestly. But I found things that worked for me. But um, yeah, I guess that shift to the gym was like I just wanted to get more power, build muscle, which I've since learned is like a thing that women are afraid of. I think it's funny, like being unplugged and being in the mountains. I really don't know what's going on out there in the real world until I like decide to tune into it. And then I tune in, and on social media, they're like, don't lift weights, you'll get bulky. And I'm like, who is coming up with these rules? This is
Oh my
hilarious.
god. This is so weird and so detrimental and so the opposite of anything that's actually going to happen. Like building muscle is extremely difficult. You have to be
Yeah,
dialed in. You have to be like there's so many different factors that like I'm like over a decade in still trying to be like, okay, we can put on some more bulk. Like
right.
it's really, really difficult.
Oh, I've been
Like
trying for 3 years and I don't think I've gained any bulk, and I'm like, I'm
yeah.
out there trying.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. Like the messaging is so weird and backwards and like I almost like admire like not almost, I definitely admire and am jealous of the unpluggedness from some of these messaging because it's given you a unique perspective and almost saved from some of these like just very harmful messaging that have just been holding us down in the gym essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I really want people to sort of learn how to tap into their intuition, women especially. And
Yeah.
that includes so many things of life, but like with fitness, with nutrition, it's like you almost really need to unplug. Like take, I don't know, a week off, even
Yes.
just a day off your phone or whatever it takes, so that you can tune in to what your intuition is telling you. And as women, we have that. It's so strong in us, but just like anything else, like we were saying with confidence, like you have to practice it. You have to practice tuning into your intuition, and you have to be willing for it to change too. We
Yes.
grow every single day, and so you just have to be like, well, this worked for me 5 years ago and it is not working for me, or this worked for me 2 days ago and it's not going to work for me today.
Yeah. I love that with the intuition because you're right. Everything about especially the diet industry tells us not to trust our intuition. I mean, honestly, everything about like messages directed at women because then once you're a mom, you have like every single thing telling you that your intuition is wrong. And I feel um like I really pushed back on that and I do feel like fitness and just like knowing that like I listen to my body, eat intuitively. Like this I am very in touch with like that part that I feel like into being a new mom. I was like, no, no. My intuition is telling me different, and you want me to ignore my baby crying when every ounce of my body says go get him? No, no.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
even like I didn't even give it a second thought. It's like, well, everyone is doing this. Like, I don't care.
Yeah,
Like,
no, of
my
course.
body is responding and saying, like, no, no, I respond to my baby crying. I don't care if it's 3 a.m. Like,
Yeah. And it's like it's quite a bold thing for the industry to do, to give women especially all of this messaging when there isn't research to support it.
yeah.
Like we are so heavily left out of pharmaceutical research, of fitness research, of nutrition. Like women just, we are not part of these studies,
Yeah.
historically speaking. And so to not have science backing the messages that are so loud, it's a pretty bold
It's
thing
bold.
for the industry to do. And it's like, as women, we should question it. We should look at it. And I don't at all think that it's our fault or anything like this, but I do to some degree think that people will treat you in a way that you allow them to treat you to some degree. So it's like, if this messaging is being poured, like just pushed down your throat or whatever, like speak up, question it. You know, that is a little bit on you to be like, no, this is my health, this is my
Yeah.
body. I don't have to just listen to these ads.
You're 100% right, because the only way it will change is if we get in those driver's seats, which is like exactly what you were talking about from the very beginning, is that like you are the person in the driver's seat. There's a certain amount of freedom there and there's a certain amount of power, and we can own it in different aspects of our lives. I did. So that just kind of like led us into like the mindset part of, the type of climbing that you do. But not only there's like the type of climbing, but going on, this giant expedition. And what kind of like mindset work did you do going into that? I mean, were you scared?
Oh my goodness, I was really scared. Yeah. I have been focusing on mindset work for about 7 years now. So I do work with a life coach specifically. And my decision to start doing that 7 years ago, I kind of did it because the idea of doing it made me uncomfortable. And I really do lean into doing the things that make you uncomfortable or that frustrate you. So I don't think it's true all the time, but like if something gives you pause or maybe makes you uncomfortable, I think it's worth exploring. So I did it because I was like, what is life coaching? What is mindset training? Like, what is this world? And I'm so happy that I did, because I've just taken a deep dive into my brain and my emotional intelligence and all of these things. And the mental side of this expedition was exponentially harder than the physical side of it.
Mm.
It's that's what I learned from, that was the takeaway. I mean, we were, 20 to 30 kilometers a day, climbing 19 hours at a time. These things, we were pushing physical limitations. I had a respiratory infection. I had blisters in both of my heels. Like the physical toll was
Was there.
massive. But even with the blisters, even with the respiratory infection, even with all of that, I still think the mental side of it was a lot harder. And I think that training or sort of practicing self awareness, emotional intelligence, and accountability will are the most important factors in exploration and probably in just daily living too.
Well, when you like, what came to my mind when you just said like an exploration, because this is kind of like a big snapshot in exploration, right? Like it's like, whoa, that was like extremely hard. But for a lot of people, like that's your life. Like you know what I mean? Like preparing for your life and your relationship and your like this is the one shot you got at this life. And the fact that like, and this is honestly a lot of the reason why we started the podcast, because like we, physical health and mental health are just, they're not separate. Like it's not like we can cut off the top of our heads and then just be like, well, my body is really just functioning at a top notch. Like it's not, that's not how it works. And when your mental health suffers, your physical health suffers. When your physical health suffers, for me, my mental health definitely suffers. So like we were working hand in hand, but it feels a lot like just generally we're not giving the mindset work that respect and time that it needs. And I love that you said like I started this work 7 years ago. Like, and you haven't reached the
Long
end of it.
time.
Yeah. Right, like you didn't get to it and you're like, so like done working on my and you are someone who has achieved amazing things. So a lot of us could step back and be like, well, no, like she's got it. But you're still like working and developing, because like we're changing and developing every day, and we're learning new things, and we're pushing the limits of what we are capable of. um so it's like this ongoing work that no one has like come out the other end of that unless you're dead.
Yeah,
Like,
totally. And then you know the answer. You get to know the secret.
right. Like, I haven't reached any like pinnacle. I'm like still work in progress here. We're all a work in progress.
So you already know we make the best workout gear, but one of our best products, our highest rated product on our website is actually our collagen. If you have not heard about Glow Up by CVG, you are missing out. There is almost 700 five-star reviews on this product because it is such an amazing supplement. Actually, looking at it today, there are only 2 1 stars that were meant to be 5 stars. They love the product, they hit the wrong amount of stars. This is one of our most popular products for a reason. It dissolves like no other collagen. It's type 1 and 3. You're gonna have healthier skin, better joint mobility. Everything about this collagen makes it easy to put into your daily routine. So if you haven't tried Glow Up, get on cvg.com and make sure to add it to cart today. It's our best product.
So I wanted to like just ask you too, like, where do you think someone would start if they're like, I want to start to focus on, like, I want the mental game to be a part of my life. I want those things that you talked about. I want to have those attributes. I want to start to dabble in some of that self awareness. Hint, it's scary.
Very
Because
uncomfortable.
it's uncomfortable. You're like, oh, the role I play in this, that I'm in the driver's seat, that I am responsible for my life. Like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to kind of blame that on maybe anyone else.
Anything else, please? I mean, I will say that sort of doing mindset work, you can kind of accomplish two things at once, right? You can do your uncomfortable thing and you can gain mental fitness out of it. So for me, again, yes, I'm 7 years in, but I really do feel like I'm just getting started on it. So it's a very giving journey. But I really started, honestly, like if you want a tangible practice, with meditation. And when that was presented to me as a tool, I was like, no way. I am too restless. There's no way I could silence my mind, or I had a big misunderstanding about what meditation is. And after I sort of forced myself to do it, I learned that going for a walk can be meditation. The climbing that I do is a style of meditation, and meditation isn't really about can you clear your mind. It's about focusing your mind. It's about
Yeah.
mind control. So you just become aware of, like, this is where my thoughts are going and this is where I want them to be right now. So it's this constant practice of forcing yourself to be present, really. And that's where I started with it. And I did find that through my life coach. I found somebody that was in rock climbing that I trusted on that level and that I resonated with. And I was able to be vulnerable with this person and really open up. So I think I got lucky in that regard. And then I just used her resources for meditation to do that. But I think you have to find it for yourself, and you have to be willing to try a few things, because YouTube channels or podcasts, sometimes I listen and I'm like, nope, this meditation is not for me. It's not
Yep.
doing it. So, and maybe give it a few tries too. Like, you can't just try it once and then sort of write it off. Like, you should try everything a few times before you really write it off. But that was a big one for me, is just meditation was the start of my mental focus, of my mind control journey. And it's given me so much since then, because really, again, like I said, it's all about being present.
Yeah. It's such a good point too, of like multiple time, like giving it a shot multiple times in different ways, because like it's not just all the same. Like, one meditation is not the same as another, or a podcast, or like any of those. It's sometimes we're like, we write things off because like we dabbled in it one time and it didn't feel right, and it's like, oh well, that just doesn't work for me. Like, did that not work for you in the moment? What was your attitude going into it? What was your mindset coming into that? And that goes back to that kind of like self-reflection of like, maybe I know that sometimes like maybe like I mentally wasn't ready to hear
Mm-hmm.
that thing, whatever it was, or like to sit with myself in that moment, or you know what I mean? Like whatever it is, like sometimes it's like how you approach something and then you try it on a different day and you're like, oh, I don't know what she was.
Yeah.
I don't know who came in that day, but I don't know her.
Yeah.
Because this is very helpful. Um, so I love to hear, you say that, and just kind of like, what some of those that work has done for you, and helped you through not only this crazy expedition but some of your darkest days as well, and doing a lot of this work, to kind of bring it all full circle. So I wanted to ask you if there was anything you wanted to leave our listeners with, um, that might help them get started, maybe start to look into like, what are some of these things that I could do on a daily basis that might help me kind of like develop some of those attributes.
Yeah, I mean, just to like go back a little bit with the meditation, if just like sitting down and meditating seems just like a very daunting task, I
It did for me at first.
yeah, you're like, what? Do I have to light a candle? Like, what are the rules here? You're just so a challenge for all of your listeners can be just like make it your goal for one day out of every week to rub your fingers together 10 times a day. Like, just throughout the day, really rub your fingers and like really tune in to the sensation of rubbing your fingers together or wiggling your toes or something like that. That sort of practice can make you be present, and it can really ground you in your body, and that is what meditation is. And like as your mind starts to wander, you just go, nope, I'm going to take a deep breath and really geek out on what my fingers feel like as I rub them together. That can be just like a very tangible step to take.
I love that. That's a great practice. Like I started doing it as you were talking because I don't know. I think probably everyone listening did. They were like, maybe I
Yeah,
should do
it just like
this.
brings you into your body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I love that, and it's less intimidating than sitting with your own thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the first time I meditated, I tried for 3 minutes, and I put like a timer on, and I went and checked my phone before the 3 minutes was up, and I was like, "What is wrong with you?" Because I was like, this is forever. I
Yeah,
was like, it must have shut off, and I was like, "Oh my god, you
it's
didn't
been
even."
30 seconds.
I don't know where like the time, like my concept of time went like out the window, and I was like, okay, well, we're gonna need to work on this.
Yeah.
I was like, we'll build up to that, I guess. But it just showed like the smallest things can lead to like such big impacts if you just take that first step.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
really big on that. I think the ripple effects from small moments are bigger than change on a really large scale. I think they're so important. Um, but I guess what sort of advice would I want to give, and to cultivate sort of freedom and play and exploration and pushing yourself? I think I think humans are social creatures. I think that we thrive when we feel community, when we feel a sense of belonging. And so don't do it alone, like you don't like going into the gym, then don't do it alone. Sign up for a dance class,
yeah.
or uh do try something new. And I think that's the other part of it is like I I don't want money to be the barrier for people, because especially the outdoors are free to go play in. But often if you put your money there, so if you hire a climbing guide, for example, or you hire a trainer or something like that, as women especially, it's easier for us to take up space once we've given money to that. So put yourself out there in that way. And if you struggle with being like, I I deserve to be in this space or something like that, then pay for it. You know, that can be an easy way to for our brains to wrap around like ownership of it, of like, yes, I belong here. I can take as long as I want with this climbing guide. I can be as scared as I want. I don't have to be prepared in any way because I'm paying this person.
Yeah. I think that's great advice. Like, it gives some like ownership into it about being like, no, no, like I mean, you always deserve to take up space, but sometimes we need that, like, well, we need that like proof,
Yeah.
especially in the beginning. So I think that's like some great advice. And it's been amazing to hear you and honestly just like imagine your incredible story. Because like from like skiing across the ice and then like climbing up a mountain like no one has touched before is just like a wild, exciting thing to hear about. And I genuinely just want people to find something in their life that they are excited about doing, and that could be climbing, that could be taking a dance class, or like literally anything. Like, find something that is exciting for you and probably also scary because they both are coming together.
Yeah.
Um, and like reach for it.
Reach for it and don't compare it to anything else, you know, because it can also be being a mother, it can be raising children. And that is this thing that I don't know, people look at that sometimes from the outside. Maybe it's our egos attacking it. They're like, oh, should I be something more? It's like, no, raising children is horrifying. What a scary
Horrifying.
thing to
So like
do.
I said that before I had children, I literally was like, that seems like the scariest thing on the planet. And I've done other stuff that would seem scarier, like competed on some big stage, like done some things that like other people would consider to be scarier. And I was like, no, no.
Yeah.
You have a whole human. Like, that's a crazy job. Like,
Job. And
like,
it's, you know, like, sure, we are allowed to go out and do it, but not anybody does it well, you know? So it's like, but again, there I am like falling into the comparison aspect. Like, don't
yeah,
compare these things to other people or other things. Like, really tune into yourself, tune into that intuition, fuel your soul, not your ego. Like, just again, like, be aware of when the ego is taking up space versus the soul, you know, and then just gently redirect it and be kind to yourself along the way.
Kelly, that's such good advice with the ego too, because man, it takes over. We don't even realize it, and you're like, am I feeling my ego or am I feeling my soul? Because at the end of the day, with the like end accomplishment, you feel the difference. Like, you know the difference
Oh yeah.
when you know.
And if you're in a hard, scary position, especially, you know, like in rock climbing, I'm in that a lot. You're gonna have that tested, and if you're there for your ego, it's not gonna work. You're gonna be worn down, you know. So
Yeah.
you have to be doing these things for the right reason, and I think just that awareness is key. So you know, just figure out. I think when you're comparing yourself, when you're feeling threatened, those sorts of things, that's our ego at play.
Mm,
And if you can
mm-hmm.
just be aware of it, that's going to do wonders for you. And then you can just, again, sort of redirect it for, no, this is what makes me feel good inside. And I don't need to know why.
Yeah, I don't need to know. It's true. I've tried to dissect my like, why does that make me feel? I don't know.
Yeah,
You know
it
what?
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because like we're all like weird, unique individuals, and like sometimes like I'm like in a weird, like really hard workout, and I'm like, that made me feel awesome. I know I
Yeah.
looked like I was suffering, but like at the end, I feel really awesome, and I don't know if that makes me like kind of messed up, but like you're sleeping on the side of mountains and like a little so, so I'm like, I think we're doing okay.
Yeah, I got some deeper issues to unpack for sure.
Oh my God, I love it. Kelly, thank you so much for coming on. And I did want to just let our listeners know where they can find more from you and hear more from you because I know they'll want to.
Oh yeah, my website for my business is athenarockclimbing.com, and our handle on Instagram is Athena Rock Climbing. So those are sort of the two main places that you can find and connect with me and my team. Come climbing with
Fantastic.
us.
Yeah. That seems really scary, but also really awesome. Like I hadn't considered rock climbing, and I'm like, I should totally consider that because you made it seem really cool.
And I do think outdoor climbing is very different from indoor. So, like, go to your
Yes.
gym. It's a great way to find community and a fun way to stay fit. But nothing replaces being outside. So it's
Yeah,
good.
totally. Yeah. Well, I'll put both of these in the show notes so people can definitely find you very easily. But we'll definitely check you out, and thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much. It was really fun.